Welcome to the Betting Pros PGA Podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice, here with Byeong McBrayer. Are you ready for 2 weeks of golf tournaments in the United Kingdom? Because we have the Scottish Open this week, the British Open next week, and today we'll preview the Scottish Open. We'll also recap the John Deere Classic, and at the end of the show, we'll give you our one-and-done picks for the week. The Betting Pros PGA Podcast is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is the place to go for fantasy football best ball contests. But you might not have known that Underdog has golf contests too. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find Underdog in the App Store. And don't forget to register with the promo code BPGolf to claim your special pick and to get a first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. More on Underdog and its golf contests a little later. Davis Thompson wins the John Deere Classic, Bo, and he does it without a lot of drama. The 25-year-old Thompson scorched TPC Deere run for 4 days, finishing 28 under par. Thompson had rounds of 63, 67, 62, and 64. He wound up winning by a comfortable 4-shot margin. Bo and I had talked about Thompson last week as an intriguing betting option. He'd finished top 20 in 4 of his previous 6 starts and was coming off a tie for second at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Thompson had also tied for second at the Myrtle Beach Classic in May, so he'd shown that he could be a serious contender, at least in events with lesser fields. Unfortunately, Bo, I did not add Thompson to my betting card, and I'm sort of kicking myself over it. What about you? Did you bet him?
I did. I didn't have as much as I should have had because when we published the show, we were both really on it. One of our listeners, Eric at E12TWO, did tail us on our based on what we had gave last week, based on Davis Thompson's recent form, how he fits with this golf course against this field, and he came away with a big win. He also had Michael Thorbjornsen. I know you had some Thorbjornsen thanks to me, and I had all the Thorbjornsen who cashed top 5, top 10, and top 20 tickets for me. I think Eric did the same thing. So winners all around. Except for Fitz, who he talked about it, but he wasn't all about it. We need to get on that train.
Well, I did have a top 5 for Thorbjornsen. So while I'm not as wealthy as you and Eric, that paid off at 16-1. So it did give me a little bit of a profit for the week. Thorbjornsen finished in a 3-way tie for second with C.T. Pan and Luke Clanton. Bo, you've touted the 22-year-old Thorbjornsen as a rising star and future winner of majors, and the tie for second, his best finish of his brief PGA Tour career. Speaking of young stars, Bo, Luke Clanton, no relation to the Clanton family of the OK Corral shootout, as far as I know.
I don't know. I think it seems pretty coincidental at best.
So, young Mr. Clanton 3-putted from 5 feet on his final hole at the U.S. Open, blowing a chance to tie Neil Shipley for low amateur honors at the U.S. Open. But since then, Clanton has finished 10th at the Rocket Mortgage Classic and now second at the John Deere. He is another young player we're going to have to watch closely because he's making some noise. Not much else to talk about, really. John Deere Classic was indeed the birdie fest we expected it to be. The cut line was -5. Hayden Springer had an opening round 59 and could only manage to finish tied for 7th. Bo, any reflections on the John Deere?
It was everything we said it would be. Another shout out to another guy who helped cash tickets, Chan Kim, with the top 20 finish. That's a good one for us to pick. He was 120-1 outright, but those placement bets on those deeper shots have been paying all season, so pay close attention. And when we're talking about long shots, it's not necessarily that we think they're going to win. We just think that if their odds are so long outright, you're probably getting really good odds on them performing well in general. Top 20, top 30, top 40 bets. You can do made cut parlays on most of these books. Get with some of these long shots just to get a piece of them can really turn a profit each week. So it's a really good way to build bankroll. And every once in a while you get one that just hits and they win the whole thing, like we got with the Akshay Bhatia earlier this season, or where we got with Jake Knapp earlier in the season. Sometimes the long shots do win, but most of the time they're just there so we don't get skunked every week, because sometimes it's really hard to pick who's going to win. we've been having a really good season on the outright market, but it's been those placement bets at plus 450 to plus 850, or in your case plus 1150 on a top 5 on the rookie. Those really add up, and that you can hit those at a lot higher clip than picking outrights in the game of golf, where honestly we're just playing a game of probability.
Yes, sir. And now we cross the Atlantic for the Scottish Open. We'll get to the preview in just a minute. But first, our friends at Underdog Fantasy are letting you make picks on your favorite golfers all season long. Just pick higher or lower on selected stats for 2 to 5 golfers, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single day. You can also make rivals picks where you choose, for instance, which of 2 golfers will shoot a better score in a round. Golf picks can be combined with player stats from other sports too. Go sign up at Underdog Fantasy with the promo code BP Golf to claim your special pick and to get a first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. So the Scottish Open will be played at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick for a 6th time. Located on the east coast of Scotland along the North Sea, this event is co-sponsored by the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour. So we're getting a field with players from both tours. The Renaissance Club is a par 70 that plays to 7,237 yards. It was designed by Tom Doak and opened in 2008. It's a links-style course, but the Renaissance Club isn't quite as linksy as Royal Troon, host of the British Open in 2 weeks. But after 2 weeks of tournaments played on Midwestern Parkland courses, the Renaissance Club will certainly offer a different style of golf. The ground in Scotland is rock hard, as I can attest from a couple golf trips there. So players are going to get a lot of run out on their tee shots. On links courses, you typically won't find bunkers directly in front of the green. So players have the option to play bump and run approach shots. Sometimes keeping the ball on the ground is the way to go on a links course. And we're going to see some creativity around the greens this week. Some Texas wedges, some bump and runs from, just off. The fairways at the Renaissance Club aren't easy to hit, but the fescue rough isn't all that punishing. What can be punishing, however, the 22 fairway bunkers scattered around the course. A lot of the greenside bunkers are pot bunkers that can be steep and more difficult to navigate than the greenside bunkers on U.S. courses. The greens at the Renaissance Club are big, and like the greens on many of the courses in the UK, they're on the slow side, at least by PGA Tour standards. Let's see, the Renaissance Club has 3 par 5s, all of them reachable, and 5 par 3s. 3 of those par 3s are longer than 200 yards, and there are a couple of shorties, one measuring 147 yards, one measuring 161. There are 4 long par 4s measuring 480 or longer, and the 5th hole is a short, drivable par 4 coming in at just 338 yards. Rory Mcllroy is the defending Scottish Open champion. He finished minus 15 last year to edge Robert McIntyre by 1 shot. Xander Schauffele won a windy Scottish Open in 2022, finishing 1 stroke better than McBrayer favorite Kurt Kitayama. Minwoo Lee was the champ in 2021. He finished minus 18 and bested Thomas Detry and Matthew Fitzpatrick in a playoff. Let's see, in 2020, it was Aaron Rai at minus 11. He beat Tommy Fleetwood in a playoff. And in 2019, Bernd Wiesberger won the first Scottish Open at the Renaissance Club, finishing 22 under and beating Benjamin Aberg in a playoff. So the all-important weather forecast for North Berwick, where the wind off the North Sea can wreak havoc, it's not going to be that bad. Temperatures are expected to be in the upper...
Say that now.
We say that now, and it is unpredictable, granted. But as of now, the forecast calls for temps in the upper 50s the first 3 days, with chances for occasional showers. You'll get pop-up showers in Scotland all the time. Sunday, things should dry out and be a little warmer with temps in the low 60s. The wind is expected to be 10 to 15 miles an hour on Thursday, and then only 5 to 10 miles per hour the rest of the tournament. If the winds are that benign, Bo, I would expect a shootout with a winning score somewhere around minus 20. But again, weather conditions can be very unpredictable. In Scotland, Bo, your ancestry traces back to Scotland. Your thoughts on the Renaissance Club and Scottish golf in general?
Well, without weather, it's a very, very easy course. These guys are going to just light it up. Uh, I I've always gone back to this old adage that a Scottish meteorologist is just a sheep with a rope tied to its tail, and that's basically what the weather is going to be like, is based on what condition that rope is in. And it's really, you can't predict the weather. Like a weather forecast, even with AccuWeather and Doppler forecasting, especially on the North Sea side of Scotland, it's impossible. You have no clue. Nobody has any clue what the weather's going to be, even in 3 hours. And so I think that's completely irrelevant. I have to expect that there's going to be inclement weather at some point this week, especially with the wind. I really don't care about the rain because it's just going to make the course easier. This course is ripe for the picking, but if that wind picks up like it did last year and the year before, where it was predicted to be good weather incoming, Rory hit that famous 2-iron from 206 into the teeth of that wind, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. I believe the forecast said a max gust of 15 miles an hour at the time we did the show last year. So, none of that forecasting matters. We want to predict who's going to be able to play in weather when it's bad, not if it's bad. I want to prepare for the worst and put golfers together that are artists. This is a course that requires a lot of care, a lot of touch, a lot of finesse, and just creativity. Like you mentioned it, the bump and run game. You can still get around this place with flop shots if the wind isn't blowing, but you have to be able to adapt with the conditions. And that's why we've seen winners like Rory and Xander, and even guys that have competed here year over year, like Thomas Detry. All these guys are creative ball strikers. They're good when the conditions are good. They're even better when the conditions are not good. That's who I'm looking for. This tournament's going to hinge on, if there's 1 or 2 days of bad weather, who's going to rise to the top.
The 2-iron into the wind that Rory hit last year, so memorable and so heroic that there is now a plaque on the course honoring that. And I don't think I mentioned Xander Schauffele's winning score in 2022. When the wind was up, it was 7 under par.
Yeah.
I mean, this course was
this course is nasty when it's bad, and it's super easy when it's not.
If you want a chance to win a free 1-year premium Betting Pros subscription, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now. Comment below on this video, and that's it. We'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel. So turn on your notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. And speaking of prizes, Betting Pros is giving away a signed Julio Rodriguez jersey for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com. Entering the contest is easy. Go to www.bettingpros.com/contest. Again, www.bettingpros.com/contest, and complete the entry form. Then download the Betting Pros app, leave a review for this podcast, or subscribe to our social media channels. The more actions you complete, the more entries you get. Every follow and review helps and boosts your chances of winning just by sharing your feedback on our podcast. The entry deadline is July 31st. So go visit www.bettingpros.com/contest for your chance to win a signed Julio Rodriguez Mariners jersey. And okay, Bo, so let's get to the odds for the Scottish Open. All odds courtesy of DraftKings as of Monday afternoon. Rory Mcllroy opens as the betting favorite at plus 800. Xander Schauffele plus 850. Collin Morikawa plus 1400. Ludvig Aberg plus 1600. Tommy Fleetwood plus 2000. Viktor Hovland plus 2200. Tom Kim plus 2800. Minwoo Lee plus 3000. Hideki Matsuyama plus 3,500, Justin Thomas and Matt Fitzpatrick plus 4,000, and at plus 4,500, Sungjae Im, Robert McIntyre, Aaron Rai, and we've got Brian Harman at plus 5,000. Who do you like from this group, Bo?
Right off the top, our defending champion Rory Mcllroy is coming in with excellent form. I think the odds are a little short. They've shrunk to plus 750 by my look right now on Monday afternoon. However, that's still fine for a favorite. It's a non-Scotty favorite. No Scotty Scheffler in this field either. We'll see him next week for the Open Championship. But Rory coming into this field is still going to be top 5 in most stat models. He's just on a really good run of form right now. This course does kind of bend the knee to power players. Distance does have an advantage here, and Rory McIlroy showed that last year, where even when the wind picked up, it even gained his another advantage because he could cut it through the wind and hit it into places where nobody else could get. This is a big advantage for long hitters who also have good short games. Rory McIlroy, obviously a great short game, and that's why he's been on such a run this past 2 months. He's just on fire. So Rory McIlroy is a great bet at plus 750 or plus 800. Anywhere in that range is fine with me. And I'm going right to Viktor Hovland because when things get tough, when things are a little bit inclement, that's when he vaults to the top of the rankings. One of the best ball strikers on planet Earth, especially in wind, especially when you have to move the ball around. And as mediocre as his short game has been, it's better when the course demands creativity. It's just the straightforward chips. It doesn't seem like he gets too much detail down, but I think his best form around the greens is when he's forced to be creative, and he gets to do that this week.
Yeah, so I will tease my betting card. I took Rory early. Well, it was late Monday afternoon at plus 800.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier in the afternoon, he had been plus 600, a price I didn't like nearly as much. So plus
That's
750. Plus 750, not a bad price still. I think I would have locked that in as well, but I feel lucky to have gotten him at plus 800. Yeah, you just wonder, like, he's been dialed in for months. He knows golf in the UK quite well. The Northern Irishman does.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen him since the US Open and, the tournament he let slip away in painful fashion. How scarred will he be by that experience? Probably not very.
I think he's going to be, if anything, hungry and pissed off.
Yes.
If it's me, I'm betting on Rory to come back with guns ablazing, going off and trying to just destroy that golf course, defend his title. He's got everything to gain. We've seen him at his lowest point right now, where he was so close to winning that major and breaking that long drought. He's got a chip on his shoulder this year, especially with defending the Scottish Open and getting a shot at Royal Troon next week. I think Rory's going to go scorched earth this week and next. He's going to be really tough to beat at both places, especially with there's a distinct European advantage to these next two courses. I mean, we are on sacred, hallowed grounds for golf, and this field in particular has 75 DP World Tour players and 75 PGA Tour players. That's the unique mix, is the conjunction of those two tours building this Scottish Open field for the first time. It's going to be unique to see the best of both tours. I think there's a lot of talent in the European field, even if they're PGA Tour players. The Europeans have a distinct advantage on these types of golf courses because they're not anything like what we see over here. We don't have links-style golf courses in the United States. They might be links-style asterisk parentheses C community notes. Even Royal Berwick or North Berwick is a links style course, but it's on the ocean on the North Sea. It's definitely as close to links as you're going to get anywhere in the United States, and there's nothing like it. So a lot of what I'm going to be going over in my slip is going to be European style players or just guys from Europe who are used to this kind of golf.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, the courses in the U.S. that we call link style courses, Whistling Straits in Wisconsin, which I've had the privilege of playing. It's a great course. It's nothing like Scotland. It just doesn't play like a links course.
And that's on a Great Lakes. It's cool. They built the course on the lake in a similar fashion, but I think the closest you could get in the United States would be like Pebble Beach because it's on the northern part of the ocean. Cold water, you get some really nasty weather every once in a while, but it's not anywhere close to at that latitude. Right now in Scotland, you can play golf at 10 p.m. Like it's north enough to where in the summertime it's not going to get dark. These guys are not going to get suspended due to darkness in the next 2 weeks just because golf is everything in Scotland in the summertime.
Yes,
And
it is.
the squalls are always on the horizon.
Yes, sir. Let's go over some of the other favorites. So Xander Schauffele, the other player with odds shorter than 10-1. Xander's finished inside the top 15 in each of his last 5 events, and he won here in 2022 under those harsh conditions. So understandable why his odds are so short. Collin Morikawa, he's also finished top 15 in 5 straight events, but in 2 previous appearances at the Scottish Open, he's finished 71st and missed the cut. It's hard to tell whether Links golf suits Morikawa or not, Bo. Poor Scottish Open track record. He's missed the cut in his last 2 British Opens. He also won the British Open in 2021 at Royal St. George's. So he's an interesting case. Do either Xander or Morikawa appeal to you at all?
Xander if it gets nasty, Morikawa if it stays calm. He won the Open at Royal St. George's in pretty nice conditions. He's a high ball hitter. He hits the ball very high, trajectory-wise. There's a reason why Scotty Scheffler hasn't even come close to winning the Open Championship. It's because he's a high ball hitter. He doesn't flight the ball down very well when the wind is up. It's going to be a very important part of that kind of golf. And I'm looking for guys that are better at flighting the ball down, better at getting creative on approach, better at getting up and down from really weird places where there's nothing in front of you, but maybe you're in a gorse bush or nearby or in a pot bunker, and you have to be able to get the ball up and down on a green that's gigantic. You might be 90 feet away from the pin in a pot bunker, and you got to find a way to get up and down. And some of these guys just aren't equipped for that. Their game is built for over here, and it's just so different. So I think I'll go more towards guys who we've seen do that, like Hideki Matsuyama at 35-1. He's played out of his mind well this year, especially in tough conditions. And this course is a lot tougher than the last 3 weeks we've seen on the PGA Tour. Even if the conditions are benign, you're not going to see a birdie fest, even if the weather is temperate. I do also like Matt Fitzpatrick. It's 35-1. Yeah, but if things get a little tougher, like if the weather changes, then I'm going to expect guys like him to rise to the occasion, grind it out. He comes in third in my model when I filter for wind. That really raised my eyebrows on him. 35-1 on a guy that good at those odds. I'll take it.
I've got a weird vibe about Ludvig Aberg, Bo. Like this could be a good week for him. He missed the cut last year in his debut at the Renaissance Club. Does he have the experience to give him the sort of creativity he might need this week? Is that your concern?
My concern is his style. He's a high ball hitter.
Yeah.
He hits the ball really high, and it plays a big part when greens are fast and you need to be able to tuck it into certain spots. Like here, you just have to hit it close. You have to be able to hit it close whether the wind is up or not. And I don't know that he can do that. I don't like his style with this type of golf.
Understood. It was the weather forecast that sort of emboldened me to take him. But as you said, the weather forecast, how much stake should we be putting in that? Maybe I'm putting a little too much into it by taking Aberg. Tommy Fleetwood has finished top 26 in 6 straight events over the last 2 months, but he has no top 10s in that time. But he does have a strong record at the Renaissance Club. His finishes in his last 4 appearances here: 2nd, 26th, 4th, 6th. Minwoo Lee tied for 2nd at the Rocket Mortgage Classic 2 weeks ago, won here in 2021 when conditions were pretty benign. Let's see, Tom Kim has finished 3rd and 6th in his 2 prior Scottish Open appearances, lost a playoff to Scotty Scheffler at the Travelers 3 weeks ago, although he then missed the cut at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Aaron Rai, someone you liked enough to take in our one and done Bo last week, won here in 2020 and has been in fine form lately. 2nd at the Rocket Mortgage, 7th at the John Deere. Let's see, Sungjae Im, 4 top 10s in his last 7 events, plus a 12th last week at the John Deere. However, he has missed the cut at the Scottish Open in each of the last 2 years. And one more guy I'll mention, Robert McIntyre, finished 2nd here last year and has 2 other top 20s at the Renaissance Club. And he's a Scot, obviously. But he's had a wild season, man. Won the Canadian Open, finished top 10 at the PGA. But McIntyre has also missed the cut in 6 of his last 12 tour events. So do any of those guys appeal to you or not really?
Not really. Maybe Minwoo Lee at 55 or 30 to 1 right now. I think that's too short for him. He's had such a terrible season on approach that his win and top 5 finish the last couple of years at this golf course, I don't really put stock in it because he was playing better golf at those times. This is very much a what have you done for me lately type of golf course, where if you come in and you have the right mindset and you're also playing good golf, you can take this thing down. Minwoo Lee played well last week, but he kind of fizzled out at the end. His approach game's been so bad that I really don't feel great about it. He's going to have to score a lot better on par 4s, and he's going to have to avoid bogeys a lot better than he has been. He's way down in my model. So is Tom Kim. Tommy Fleetwood always rates out well. He should do well, but if you're keeping score at home, he has never won a PGA Tour event. He has never won anything. He hasn't won anything in the last 3 years, other than being part of the Ryder Cup for Europe, which was a landslide. But yeah, unfortunately for Tommy Fleetwood, unless you're betting him to make the top 10, you're not going to make any money because Tommy Fleetwood doesn't win.
That's true. Let's look at mid-range plays. At plus 5,500 are Wyndham Clark, Davis Thompson, Corey Connors, and Ben An. And let's see, at plus 6,000, we've got Sepp Straka, Christian Bezuidenhout, Sahith Theegala, and Max Homa. Jordan Spieth is plus 6,500. Thomas Detry and Adam Scott are plus 7,000. Ryan Fox and Eric Van Rooyen are plus 7,500. And at plus 8,000 are Tom McKibben, Tom Hogue, Siwoo Kim, and Alex Noren. How about the mid-range options, Bo?
This is more my speed. Ben An has the distance advantage. His putting has been a lot better this season. I think Ben An's got a really nice number at 55 to 1. His power is going to be an advantage here. Same goes for Ryan Fox. Ryan Fox is a bomber and a half. He annihilates par 4s. That's going to come into play a lot on this golf course where the par 4s are tricky. You have a vast array of them. And so I did take a really broad stroke on strokes gained par 4, and he rated 13th in this entire field. So Ryan Fox is very high on my list. Detry has a great track record. He's a horse for this course if I've ever seen one. The Belgian, also obviously European. He's played well in tough conditions. He's played well in European golf course conditions. I think that he's in really good form right now to pay off at 70 to 1. So those two guys are kind of my favorites in that range.
Yeah, so An was third here last year. And the last time we saw Mr. An, he was missing the cut at the U.S. Open and then withdrawing from the Travelers. But he did record back-to-back top 5s at the Byron Nelson and the Wells Fargo 2 months ago. Detry, second here in 2021, 10th in 2022, 5 for 5 making the cut at the Renaissance Club. And, the Belgian hasn't really made much noise lately, but he does have 3 top 5s this season. Let's see, Max Homa. He's had kind of an up and down year, but he's shown some aptitude at the Renaissance Club, finishing 16th and 12th in 2 previous appearances. And Tom McKibben is someone American fans might not be familiar with. He is a 21-year-old rising star from Northern Ireland who has finished top 10 in 4 of his last 6 DP World Tour events. He was second at the Italian Open a couple of weeks ago. What about long shots, Bo? Anyone with odds of 90 to 1 or longer who interests you?
Number 2 in my entire model is Denny McCarthy. It comes in handy that he's a great approach player. He's a great putter. He avoids bogeys like crazy. He plays very well in wind. That's right at the very top of my whole board. And going back to NorCal, Kurt Kitayama. He's played well here over the years. You know why? Because it's dry and windy here all the damn time. So yeah, I think that he just feels at home, especially when the wind picks up. He's well equipped to hit stingers all day. I'm pretty sure we kind of, as soon as we learn to swing a club, we're hitting stingers off the tee just to get it under the wind. So I think that especially if the conditions worsen, you're going to see players like Kurt Kitayama rise because they're so adept at grinding out pars and making birdies on holes where nobody else is. He's that kind of player where he buckles down and makes and holes out when it's tough. I really like that, especially at his odds. I think he's at 110 to 1 right now. That's a really nice number for a guy of his caliber. That's pretty much in that range where I go. Justin Rose is another guy that when the conditions get tougher, another English golfer who's played these kinds of golf courses his entire life. He's 9th in my model. And I'm going to go all the way down. All the way down. And we're going to, you're going to laugh. This is a good one. We're going to go to Antoine Rozner. Antoine Rozner is 400 to 1. And he's very high on my list. The Frenchman, I believe. He's that kind of guy. It's just this kind of golf course brings out some wild ones. I have a couple other deep shots that I'm kind of hesitant to throw out there because my model's a little bit shaky at the moment, but one of them is Vincent Norrman. I believe he's a Swede. 2 R's. He's a bomb and gouge type of guy. So if the conditions are good, I can see guys like Vincent Norrman rise to the top. If they're not good, you're going to see guys like Rozner, the crafty bump and run guys. They're just ball strikers. They're creative. They're the artists.
I was considering a different Frenchman, Bo. Matthew Pavon. Okay. Seems like 90 to 1 just seems like a value there. Finished 12th here in 2021 and was in the hunt at the U.S. Open, obviously last month, finishing 5th. And I'll mention one more European. Ewan Ferguson is a 28-year-old Scot who obviously has some experience with Scottish golf. He was 12th here a year ago and coming off a win at the BMW Invitational Open last week. All right, Bo, what do you have on your betting card as of this moment?
All right, so I do have some Rory McIlroy at plus 750, Viktor Hovland at 22 to 1, Hideki Matsuyama at 35, and we're going all the way down to I did throw in some Jordan Spieth. I'm kind of shaky on it because he's played so badly, but I think that Jordan Spieth, for some reason in my head, is going to pull it around. Denny McCarthy at 90 to 1, Kurt Kitayama 110 to 1, Justin Rose at 150 to 1, and then we're just gonna throw it out au revoir $5 with Antoine Rozner.
Well, we're both going hard this week. I've got Rory at plus 800. I did go with Aberg at plus 1600, and I went with Tom Kim. You're kind of making me regret it. I feel like I should have put that money on Ben On instead, but I've got Tom Kim at plus 2800. I do have Thomas Detry at plus 7,000 and top 5 at plus 1,400. I bet Tom McKibben a little something at 80 to 1 and a top 5 at 14 to 1. I've got Pavon to win outright 90 to 1. And I've got Ewan Ferguson at 110 to 1 with a top 5 kicker at 20 to 1. Now, before we get to our one and done picks, if you're playing in a one and done golf pool, or if you're playing in any sort of tiers based majors pool this year, our friends at Pool Genius have a new product that gives you an edge. Using objective data like betting odds, course performance, and national pick trends, the tool highlights the top value picks that give you an edge, and it can all be customized specifically for your pool. If you're doing a one and done pool or majors pool, let Pool Genius be your secret weapon. And by the way, Pool Genius is not just for golf pools. You can use it for March Madness pools, NFL Survivor pools, and more for 10% off on the majors tool and for 55% off on yearly packages that include all golf, football, and March Madness tools. Visit poolgenius.com/fantasypros. Again, that's poolgenius.com/fantasypros. Now for the one and done picks. Last week, Bo took Aaron Rai, who finished tied for 7th, good for $252,400. I took Sepp Straka, who tied for 61st, good for $17,200. I'm not sure I could buy a decent used car for the money Sepp Straka earned me last week, Bo.
Not much.
So Bo extends his lead. He's at about 11.7 million for the season. I'm about 4 million back at 7.7 million. You are up first this week, Bo. Who you got?
I feel like I'm in cruise control at this point because the Tour Championship could throw me off at the end of the season, but I do feel confident that I got this thing as long as I can keep my head on my shoulders. I'm going to play it relatively safe with Matt Fitzpatrick this week.
Matt Fitzpatrick. Oh, and what am I going to do here? I'm going to go with Aberg.
You've been saving him, huh?
Yeah, I have, and I'm not sure if this is the right spot to pull him out. I guess I'm counting on that mild weather forecast.
Yeah, he's talented enough for sure. I just don't know about the fit.
Yes, and that's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks again to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Sign up for Underdog with the promo code BPGolf to claim your special pick and to get a first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. And please come join Bo and I again next week when we'll be previewing the final major of the season, the British Open at Royal Troon. Until then, so long, everyone.